have the right expectation going into this. That I think a lot of times you see the get rich quick. Hey, quit your W-2 job. I'm making X amount a month right now. Like, that's not going to happen. I mean, you could have amazing properties, but most people's W-2 isn't going to be replaced by your first STR in the first month. It's going to take time.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Moore, and we're here with my main man, Dave Spulich, for another segment of Whiskey Wednesday. These are short, sweet, to-the-point episodes. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in our world. Dave's got some hot topics in the short-term rental world and then some questions that you guys send in. So always as a reminder, if you've got questions, DM us, comment wherever you're watching or listening to these episodes on, and we'll make sure that we get your questions ready and on the schedule for an upcoming episode. And so, Dave, what do we have on the agenda today? Let's dive right in. I want to get started right away.
We got a little questions to see how well you know yourself. It's a speed round. It's a speed round.
All right.
So I don't want too much thinking. I want this is set up to be quick answers. Okay?
All right, let's see. Let's see what we got.
Here we go. McDonald's or Burger King?
Oh, both suck. McDonald's.
Kit Kat or Twix?
Kit Kat.
Home Depot or Lowe's?
Home Depot.
Costco or Sam's?
Sam's.
Eric Church or Morgan Wallen?
Ooh, I'm going to go with the Chief, Eric Church.
All right. Kenny or Dolly?
Dolly, always.
Ooh. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Chocolate chip or sugar cookie?
Sugar cookie.
Rain or wind?
Rain, for sure.
Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Nice, dude.
Yeah? All right. Hey, let me see.
Right.
Okay, same thing. Let's see. We already kind of know probably because you read them. McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Kit Kat or Twix?
Kit Kat.
Home Depot or Lowe's?
Home Depot.
Costco or Sam's?
Costco.
Eric Church or Morgan Wallen?
Morgan Wallen.
Kenny or Dolly?
Kenny.
Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Chocolate chip, sugar cookie?
Sugar.
Rain or wind?
Rain.
Pizza, pasta?
Pizza.
All right. Hey,
no
wonder we're friends. We're like 80% the same.
I knew you'd pick Sam's.
Yeah.
I knew I'd pick Costco. I knew you'd pick Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yeah.
And Burger King, McDonald's. I mean, I went to McDonald's.
Dolly surprised you? I mean,
no, because I knew you like.
I love Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I do too. But Kenny, I mean, come on, the gambler.
I love the game. I love Kenny. I love Kenny too, but Dolly's like on a different level.
And rain, wind. Yeah, I don't like to win.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the wind drives you crazy.
Yeah.
It's way better to have rain. So
yeah, I'm dealing. The wind is like killing me today because of allergies. Like the allergies for me, like I get allergies, so the wind kicks them up. So I'm definitely if I've got watery eyes in the watching it on YouTube, that's why. Dave's not making me cry. I've got some allergies going on today.
So you did good. You passed. You knew yourself pretty well. Couple pauses there, but that's okay. So all right, well let's jump in. So when we talk about experience, and we've talked about it a lot of times over episodes and podcasts and the importance of experience. And it's not only with short-term rentals, but it's with everything. But the one thing I was thinking about, and I've really kind of heard this lately on a lot of the platforms and different things that I've kind of been researching is, if you want to be good at anything, you one, have to put some time and effort into it. Okay, that's a given. But two, you really have to have some sort of training or some sort of process or some sort of blueprint. If you're going to be a physician or you're going to be a lawyer or you're going to be a plumber or an electrician or anything, you're going to go find somebody that understands that's an expert that can teach you how to do it. There are some things that absolutely you have to, like a doctor or a lawyer, you've got to have a degree, you've got to have it. Well, some of the other things like a plumber or an electrician, if you're going to own your own company, you absolutely have to. But if you're going to do side jobs or you're going to do home improvement stuff, like you can kind of figure it out, but I saw something on Instagram I thought was really funny and they were doing a backyard project. And he said, and the caption was something like 100 trips to Home Depot later and like 2 months. And I figured this out.
Right.
And so I think, geez, if you put the time and effort and find somebody that has a process, why would you think it would be anything different in the short-term rental? If you want to be an expert and you are committed and make this a priority, you really need to find somebody that has a blueprint and a process to really dive in and teach you how to do it. Because you're probably right. You could figure this out. It's going to cost you a ton more money and it's going to cost you a lot of time to figure it out. So if you're going to dive in, why not come to somebody that has experience, that's been doing it since 2006 And let's talk a little bit about the importance of that and why that is so important for people to really consider.
Yeah, it's always an interesting conversation, and it's a conversation we dive deep into all the time. Like when we're trying to do something, one, we always want the easy path. Everybody's looking for the easy path. Well, the easiest path is to find somebody who's actually done it. If you're actually trying to find the easiest path forward, doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's going to be easier than doing it on your own. The guy that goes to Home Depot and says 100 trips later and 2 months out of my time, I finally figured this out. Go ask that guy to do it again.
Right.
And he's not going to be anywhere near as efficient. No. He's going to be a little bit more efficient, but I promise you, we've all done those tasks where we're like, something's not working on our computer and we click a whole bunch of buttons, or we can't figure out something on the TV and we're going through it and then we're like, okay, it finally works again. If that same problem arises for us next time, we're going through that same process because we didn't really learn anything. We didn't follow a path. We just clicked a bunch of buttons till something finally worked. And that's the same kind of concept that guy for the Home Depot goes through. Well, the same is true with really anything. There's also, like you mentioned, doctors, lawyers. They have to go to school. Like a doctor has to go to school before he can perform surgery. The doctor who graduated school, went through training, went through a blueprint, also is going to have a much different capability level his first surgery than the guy who has been doing it for 10 years and has had 10,000 surgeries under his belt, right? And has experienced a little bit more. Like, so there's these levels of experience as well. And I think that we don't talk about the levels of experience nearly often enough, right? Especially in our game. I've been in real estate investing for 24 years, full-time, seen a lot of different asset classes. Real estate investing is full of get-rich-quick people. They're like not just short-term rentals. I'm talking about real estate investing in general. I saw a Instagram post the other day that says, are you tired of the get-rich-quick, like flashy real estate investor trainings? And the motherfucker is walking by Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, fake jets. I'm like, and they're probably all rented. Yeah. I'm like, really? That's your headline. Are you tired of this? And then you are that.
Yes.
And I tried to look the guy up. He hasn't been around for more than 5 minutes. I mean, maybe he's rich, maybe he's not. My guess is most of the time those things are rented. You know, there's studios you can go rent, fuselages of private jets and sit and take your Instagram photos in them.
But the difference, real quick, the difference between that is he could be rich and he maybe is successful
maybe not.
And maybe he's great. Who knows? But the difference in that and be able to teach somebody how to do it. It's one thing if you have your own and you're doing it fine, but to be able to teach somebody and have a process and a blueprint, that's where most people fail. Right. They look great. They have a lot of stuff. They probably maybe are successful, but can they really teach you, and are they giving you the time through experience to make you successful?
Right.
Most likely not.
And well, there's like we say, there's so many different levels. There's very capable coaches out there. I hire coaches nonstop. I'm a huge believer in coaches. We coach people, right? There's amazing mentors and coaches out there. The problem with the world today and on Instagram and on social media and everything else is everybody wants to act like an expert. Layla Hermosi had a post the other day, and I ripped it off and kind of copied it for our posting. And she was talking about imposter syndrome. And she said, can we stop calling it imposter syndrome and start calling it inexperience? There's this big thing out there now where, hey, if you feel like an imposter, don't worry, battle through your fears, this and that and the other. And it's like, hey, how about go do something before you teach it? How about go put in the hours? Wyatt says, Dad, you always seem so confident when you're doing things and you're talking about things. And I said, you see me talk about things that I am confident about because I put tens of thousands of hours in. That's where the confidence comes from, is knowing that, hey, I've seen a lot of different things in certain things. I'm not a confident person in a lot of things that I haven't been, that I don't do very often, right? I could talk about, if you're getting in our world in the short-term rental game is a very new asset class. It's not like we talked about real estate in general. I've been in real estate for a long time. The get-rich-quick guys have been around real estate for ages. They will never go away. They're always going to be there. There's this big dream, this big payoff, and we want to show people that they can do it, which is absolutely true. But the path to follow is not as well traveled as some people make it sound, right? There's a lot of well-traveled paths, but you also have to pick your path very carefully. Our world of short-term rentals has a lot of different lanes that you can run down, a lot of different paths you can run down. The drawback of our world in short-term rentals is it's a very new asset class. It's a very, it's literally become mainstream in the last 3 years. Like, it's not something that's been around for a long time. When we talk about, I've been investing in short-term rentals since 2006, we've never heard of anybody. And I'm sure there's people who have actually done it and been investing and been doing it for a long time. On the public side, on the coaching side, There's nobody that's been doing it as long as us. That's just a byproduct of a brand new asset class. We actually fell into this asset class because I bought it and by accident rented it out when I was going through hard times and realized, holy crap, there might be something to this, right? It wasn't that I was smarter and saw how the market trends going this direction or anything like that. It was just, I stumbled into this asset class. We stuck with it and we've been doing it for longer than everybody else, right? And so we're in an asset class that there's not a lot of people who have been doing it for very long. Because of that, there's been very few market cycles that people have seen. There's been very few hiccups that people have seen. Most people have got into it. Like luckily for us, we went through the slide in 2008, 9, 10. We saw it start to rise up. We saw the COVID spike. We saw the things coming back down and the things that we had to do when it was not mainstream. We're applying those things today. We've gone through some hiccups, right? But I always tell people, like, I've never done co-hosting. I've never done arbitrage. You know, if you're looking to buy big hotel, like, you know, boutique hotels and do multifamily with short-term rentals and all that stuff, I'm not your guy. I know how to buy single family homes and create great experiences and make money with single family homes in good areas, right? Quality assets, good areas, make money with them. I'm not going to teach something that I haven't done. And we do have some experience in some of those other things. But the thing is, when you're looking for somebody with experience, you got to peel back the layers of the onion and look past the surface and say, what are you actually doing? What have you actually done? Somebody that teaches you how to own properties and how to arbitrage or co-host them, I'd be a little bit weary of that because I can tell you they're not the same thing. You underwrite them differently. You do different things. You're going to make way different decisions if you're buying a property and you're going to own it for the long term and you're going to have all these tax advantages. You're going to do depreciation. You're going to have all these different things. You're going to have make a lot different decisions on the investment of that property than if you're just renting somebody else's property and you're subleasing it out and you're putting it on. Because as soon as a hard time comes, there's not the benefit of ownership, so you're out. You're going to bail, right? When things don't go your way. Experience is just one of those things that is, you know, it just takes time, right? It just takes effort, and you have to go down. Is it the best way to accelerate your progress? It took me 10 years to be financially independent, financially free from this asset class. We've now coached thousands of people. Hundreds of them are financially free after about that 3-year period. That's a big deal. We've shortened that curve by having a really good process and plan to follow. But it doesn't happen overnight either, right? The longer your time horizon, the more success you're going to have in the long run. And being able to say, hey, I'm okay by looking in the mirror and saying, this is going to take some time. You want to do it on your own. Be the guy that goes to Home Depot and 200 times and 2 months later and says he finally figures it out. Go be the person that does that. It's a really dangerous game when you're talking about $100,000 assets or several $100,000 assets. And, you know, most people don't have the ability to make mistakes on that.
Right. Yeah. And a friend of mine or a mentor boss years ago used to say, you know, he's been in the business for a cup of coffee. And I always think of that. And I'm like, the moral of the story is be cautious on somebody that's had a cup of coffee versus somebody that's been in the business for 20 years. And the experience and the challenges and the issues that you've been able to go through and get to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, look for somebody with some scars and some bumps and some bruises because that person's been in for a while. They always say, don't pick a fight with a guy with cauliflower ears, right? Because that motherfucker will take you to the mat and you're not getting back up, right? I mean, it's like he's been through, you don't get cauliflower ears by not putting time on the mat and getting knocked down and getting beat up and learning those different things. Like find the person who's actually been and had some hiccups and had some scars and had some, because that's where you learn. That's where the real learning comes. You don't learn from the good times.
Well, and I think too, it's super important. You just mentioned this is have the right expectation going into this. That I think a lot of times you see the get rich quick. Hey, quit your W-2 job. I'm making X amount a month right now. Like that's not going to happen. I mean, you could have amazing properties, but most people's W-2 isn't going to be replaced by your first STR in the first month.
No.
It's going to take time. So have that going in. And we are super upfront with the transparency on that is like, hey, it's going to take you a couple years or 3 or 4 or 2, just depending on what, you know, the situation is. But make sure you have that in mind as you go into this. And it can be an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely. And when it comes to real estate investing, your W-2 job is probably the biggest tool in your tool belt.
To help
right?
You.
To help you continue to stack assets. And so people are really, really quick to want to replace that. Once that goes away, you'll find that most people, they talk about it. If that goes away, their ability to continue to grow their portfolio starts to die because they don't have the active income to start putting in to build that passive income. You have to build your portfolio up enough, and it doesn't happen in one or two properties typically. Is there home runs out there? Yes. Do we have them in our group? Absolutely. Do we talk about them on the front end? No. Because we don't want to set the wrong expectations, right? Yeah. We have people who have one property and they make, a couple $100,000 a year off of it. Well, you can quit your job on one property. We don't talk about that. We don't even show that on our case studies because it's unlikely to happen for people. And so don't be so quick to cut ties of the biggest tool you have, which is your active income, right? Yeah. And your active, when you have active income coming in and being able to say, okay, I can leverage that into something else. Is that a great long-term goal? Absolutely. Right. But have a longer time horizon, because you might find that you start to build this life, like we always say, that you don't want to take a vacation from. All of a sudden, as you start to build it, anybody that's ever started saving, I remember the first time that I started saving in my life, right? I used to just be a spender. I would spend everything. That's why I've lost everything twice. Because when I was early, I would make money, I would spend it. I would buy cool stuff. It was gone the minute I made it, right? When I started taking over that concept of I want to start saving, I got addicted to watching my bank account grow. Right. I got addicted to seeing it start to go up, and I didn't ever want to cut out the source of that. And you might find that that's the case. And you might find that when you have a means to an end and you have a goal you're working toward, now all of a sudden that job that you hate, you might not hate it as bad because you realize and you look at it for what it is, which is a tool to start building that life down the line that you never dreamed of, or that you've only dreamed of, right? Yeah. And so you look at things in a different lens, and it makes going to work every day a little bit easier sometimes. And every day at work is not great, right? We love what we do. Every single day we have challenges here, right? Yep. We have things that we're dealing with and stressing out and talking about. It doesn't mean that we just want to quit the next day. We're like, hey, we're building something bigger and better than ourselves. And there's a reason we do this every day. Everybody has the ability to look at their active income and their job the same way. There is one thing that can make or break your success with short-term rentals, and that's your ability to provide your guests with an amazing night's rest. We're taking all of the guesswork out of selecting the perfect mattress system. Personally, I have these custom mattresses in every one of my short-term rentals. We love them so much that we even got them in our own personal homes here in Utah. So visit VodySeeSleepSystem.com and use the promo code podcast. It's all caps at checkout to get 55% off.
We got one question today.
Okay.
Shawn, I see online everyone talking about software programs for short-term rentals. Examples, OwnerRez, Price Labs, etc. Why don't you talk much about these platforms?
That's a good question. Did we already talk about that?
You mentioned it. You said something.
Maybe you and I just talked about this.
We talked about it, but you mentioned it on a webinar for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Good. And maybe we came off this question. Maybe when it came in, you were telling me about this. Right. I felt like we already had this question.
You did mention it on the webinar last week. So
it's so this is a question that is interesting to me. I don't talk about it because I talk about the fundamentals. The way that I look at this stuff, whether it's OwnerRez, Logify, StayFi, they're all great programs. There's all really good, like in our world, because we're such a mainstream asset now, we have these amazing software tools available. Right. But that's what they are. They're tools to help us leverage what we already have and what we already built. The best software tools are not going to help you if your property is struggling and you're not creating a good experience and it's not an offer that's priced correctly and people are booking. The best software tools in the world are not going to save you. They're not going to revive that property. You don't hear me talk about it because I want a portfolio that is agnostic to any software tools, any management person that I have in place. I have different management companies on every single one of my properties that use different software tools on every one of my properties. They all perform at the top of the market because I focus on building and buying quality assets, building these amazing experiences, and I understand how to articulate those experiences. Those are the fundamentals of the game. If you can dial those three things in, it is going to be irrelevant what software tools are available because there's going to be good ones and they're all very capable, and tomorrow there's going to be better ones. And so as long as I have a solid foundation, good quality assets, a great experience, and we know how to articulate it, the software tools are irrelevant. Right. That's why you don't hear me talk about them because they also come and go. Right. And so there's some really good ones out there. We use them all the time. I always tell, like, even with our members that are using the software tools, they're like, what do you think is better out of this or this? I said, they're all very capable. Pick the user interface that you are most comfortable with, that you feel most intuitive with, so that you will actually use it. With a good portfolio and a good foundation to your portfolio, you're going to succeed or you're not going to succeed based on that, not based on the software tools.
Well, and I think too, you, like you said, you can get in the weeds and get away from the fundamentals. Because we have some of our Odyssey members that come back to us and say, hey, I'm using these, 9 software programs. It's a little cumbersome. What do you suggest? And you always tell them, hey, let's just get back to the fundamentals. Let's not get too much in the weeds. Let's just really figure out where you're at, where you're going, and let's help you. You don't need all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So, my answer to that, right? In our coaching, they're like some of our, self-managers, they have a stack of, 12 software tools that, for price optimization, for, for direct bookings, for, how to collect guest information, how to deliver, their guest book and everything else. They've got all these software tools and they've got all these pricing things set up and they're like, hey, Shawn, I'm struggling. What do I do? I said, disconnect it all. Just disconnect it. Go back to the basics. Here's what we want to do. They're like, I don't think that's going to work. And what happens almost every single time? It works every time because we focus on the fundamentals. The fundamentals do not sell though, right? It's hard to sell the fundamentals. Right. It's just like, everybody, it's a smoke screen sometimes, I feel like, with all these tools and resources that we have available. I'm not saying they're bad. I think some of them are awesome, right? Yeah. But sometimes you get too deep into them and you forget about the fundamentals. All those tools, all those shiny objects that everybody wants to talk about, that's not going to revive or save your property, right? You have to dial in the fundamentals first.
Well, and you sometimes lose track of your property and really understanding your property, and you rely on all these software programs to try to run it for you. Yeah. And so you just assume, well, whatever they tell me to do, I'm doing. And in the long run, you really just need to dive in and analyze the market, analyze your property, and you could probably make a lot of those decisions yourself just by understanding your short-term rental.
Exactly. So, it's in even like our podcast. Like I do interviews, like we do our Whiskey Wednesday, but on Fridays I interview successful short-term rental investors. We have people all the time, specifically software companies, saying, "Hey, can we be a guest? We'd like to come on and talk about our software." I don't do it. Right? And I don't do it for a reason, not because they're not good programs, not because they're not good software tools. Some of them we use. I don't want people to think that that's going to solve their problems, right? And so I want to talk about the things that I think will help them the most. And maybe that's a mistake. Maybe that's not something I should be doing, but that's my view of the world.
Yeah, good. All right, buddy.
So
that's it for today.
All right, let's wrap it up. So guys, we always appreciate your time and joining us on these episodes. We know how valuable it is. If you have anybody that would like to be a part of these conversations, please share the show and send it to them. Those things help us grow the show and get more people involved in these conversations, walking into this game with their eyes wide open. And at the end of every episode, I ask you 2 favors. The first one is, if you have more than 30 seconds, like, review, and give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. Those things help the show grow and spread the message. And the final and most important thing that I always ask you at the end of every episode is pick out one thing you can do today, start building that life you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.